Hey guys, so now I'm going to talk about Arrow Season 5, Episode 3, called A Matter of Trust. So in this episode, we see Oliver facing backlash from the media because Thea made Lance deputy mayor without consulting him, and then Thea has to go there and talk to the newscaster, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, my executive producer made me do it." And later she does the same thing, and she runs another piece on Oliver being mayor, and how she didn't even know that it was happening. And Thea goes to her at the end of the episode and she's like, "Next time you try to do something like that, you better watch out." I thought that was really funny. I hope they don't create like a political rivalry between both of them, because that's kind of lame. Or maybe it goes deeper, but right now I'm not that interested into it. And also an interesting fact, the newscaster, she's the chick from Suits who Lewis is trying to get from where he like buys a house for her and she's the architect. Just a fun fact. So going into the flashbacks of this episode, we see that Oliver is going through the 3 levels of becoming Bratwa in order to kill Kovart, who's the person that he promised to kill to that lady on the island last season. And I find this so interesting because it's taking that gangster, that mobster mentality that's in some movies and some other TV shows, and it's incorporating that into Arrow. And I really hope they execute it perfectly as they are right now, because right now it's really intriguing and I really want to see where they're going with it. What was also interesting this episode was seeing Oliver as a leader and him trying to control the team and them not listening and following all of the rules like Wild Dog. Now, Wild Dog is turning into one of the most interesting characters on the show because they're giving him more to do than the other supporting characters like Evelyn Sharp and Curtis Holt, where he has more conflicts with Green Arrow and he knows the streets a bit more in the case of this new drug going around the city called Stardust. And he doesn't tell Arrow and he takes Evelyn Sharp and he kills the guy who's in charge of that particular factory. But you see that Oliver has a bigger plan and people around him in the political place have a bigger plan too, because they were actually going to use that drug dealer and get him to turn on all the other ones to get all of them arrested. I really love that scene where Oliver is confronting Wild Dog and both of them are having this exchange, and Oliver explains how Wild Dog doesn't know how to see the bigger picture yet, and he shows that he is a leader and he's been doing this for so much more longer and he has experience. But also at the same time, you also see Wild Dog's point of view where he knew where the location of the drug dealer was going to be and where the entire operation was running. And that was really interesting to see throughout the episode, that Oliver was right, but he also had to realize to listen to his team. And we also see that they're trying to build this relationship between Felicity's new boyfriend and Arrow, where they're having this exchange in some building or a warehouse, and he's like, "This guy with the arrow, he hit George," and he said, "You know what? Leave the Green Arrow alone. I just wanted to tell you, I'm gonna be your informant. Is that cool? And I had to call you all the way to this building to tell you. I couldn't just tell you through Felicity, even though you probably know we're dating." Ha 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 ha. I don't know why they're trying to build this relationship between Felicity's boyfriend and the Green Arrow and Oliver, but maybe it grows into something more later. I still bet that he's somehow related to the bad guy, or he's working for the bad guy in some way. Or maybe he has a bigger story in the upcoming episodes in some other way. What I also found interesting was Diggle wanting to stay in prison to pay for his sins for killing his brother, which I found really interesting, even though he's not in prison for that reason. He's in prison for something he didn't do at all. And he says no to his wife and to return to his family and to his daughter. I found that kind of surprising, knowing that Diggle loves his daughter so much. But then at the end of the episode, we see that his wife comes to Oliver and she says, "Get him out of prison, please break him out." And he's like cleaning his bike and he's like, "What's the problem?" I found that kind of funny for some reason. I don't know why. I couldn't put my finger on why I found that funny. And the last thing I want to point out about this episode was the action. The action sequences on this show this season are truly amazing. It's so good. It's like season 1 and 2. I keep saying that, but it's true. And it's better, actually, in my opinion. The way they're shooting it, the way the camera angles are, and how they're like showing the explosion, like how Arrow is walking away from the explosion after they decide to blow up the place. And especially that sequence where he takes the arrow with the rope attached to it, he shoots the impenetrable guy, and then he uses his own force to get himself on the floor and also punch the other guy at the same time. That was a great thought out sequence which I loved, and him saying, I know you don't feel pain, but you need your tendons in order to use them, and he takes the arrow and he cuts him exactly where his tendons are. That entire action sequence, even with Wild Dog, Evelyn Sharp, and Curtis Holt, especially Green Arrow's action sequences, were amazing and what I love most about the show. So guys, I love this episode. It was great. I hope the show keeps going in the same pace it's going right now, because right now, honestly, I'm having more fun with this show than I am with The Flash, and that didn't happen last season, and I love the Arrow right now. The Flash, on the other hand, is still good and still consistent, but Arrow is doing something new with itself, and I love that approach. So guys, what did you think about the episode? Did you like it? Did you not? Tell us what you think. Comment down below, and don't forget to like and follow us on our social media so you know when our latest videos come out.